Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Online. In today's session, we'll be dealing with one of the very important topics of aptitude. Yes, that is data interpretation. Take up any examination for that matter. Even in SSC, you'll find at least one question from this topic. One question doesn't mean that you'll get only 1 mark from this topic. This one question will further have at least 4 sub-questions, or sometimes they can also ask you 5 sub-questions under one main question, meaning you'll get a minimum of 4 marks from this topic. Yes, so data interpretation is a very important topic when it comes to SSC examinations. So in today's session, we'll be seeing all the basics of data interpretation. But before we start the session, I would like to tell you that you should be thorough with percentages, ratios, and averages as well. Because all the questions that they'll be asking would be with respect to any one of these 3 topics. So once again, I'm emphasizing this. These 3 are very important topics when it comes to data interpretation. So you'll have to be thorough with all these 3 before we start data interpretation. Hello everyone, I am Kanaka, your aptitude trainer. So now let us understand what is data interpretation. As the name itself suggests, as the heading itself suggests, data interpretation meaning they'll give us certain data in the question. We'll have to analyze that data and we'll have to answer the given questions. Whenever they're giving the data, they'll not give it directly. They'll give it in the form of a chart here. So I've told you that they're giving type in a form of a chart. What are the different kinds of chart that can be given? Different kinds of chart that can be given to us are line graph, or you can also call this as line chart, or bar graph. Sometimes the data can also be given in the form of a table, that is called as tabular graph or tabular chart. Then even in pie chart. So these are the important ones for SSC examination. There is another way of giving us the data that is called as Kslets. But when it comes to SSC examinations, they've not asked the Kslets in any of the previous year papers. So we'll be emphasizing mostly on line graph, bar graph, tabular, and pie chart. Even when it comes to these 4, bar graph and pie chart are very, very important, because most of the years they've asked the questions on bar graph and pie chart. That doesn't mean we have to neglect line graph and tabular. Line graph and tabular are also asked, but the probability of them asking the question on line graph and tabular is very less. So we'll be emphasizing mostly on bar graph and pie chart. So now in today's class, let us begin with line graph and bar graph. So what do you people understand by line graph? So what is line graph, people? What do you mean by line graph? For you people to understand line graph better, let me give you an example. Let me take up an example of book manufacturing company. Let's say they manufacture books on different days of the week, and every day they manufacture different quantities of books. So what I'll do here is I'll draw a graph here to represent the books they have manufactured. Whenever we are drawing a graph, we need 2 axes. We know that we need x-axis as well as y-axis. This is my y-axis and this will be my x-axis. And along the x-axis, I'll be taking different days of the week, starting from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll take only 5 days of the week. And in my y-axis, let me take the different number of or the quantity of books that is manufactured. Let's say 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. So now I'll draw a graph something like this. So this will be my line graph here. Now, if I ask you, what is the number of books that was manufactured on Tuesday? What will be your answer? How do you interpret data from this graph here? So if I ask you what is the number of books on Tuesday, what we do is we draw a line perpendicular to x-axis from Tuesday. If we draw a line perpendicular to x-axis from Tuesday, it will intercept the line in this point here. Now what I do is from this point, I'll draw a perpendicular to y-axis. So now what have we got? What is the value on my y-axis? It is 300. And I told you earlier that I'll be taking the number of books manufactured in my y-axis. So on Tuesday, we have manufactured 300 books. The book manufacturing company has manufactured 300 books on Tuesday. So now we would have understood how to interpret data from the line graph. So now from this, can you people tell me what is the definition of line graph? So line graph is nothing but a chart, a type of chart which is used to represent the data or the information given in the form of points. These points are the representation of the data that are given, and these points are joined by straight lines. So this will be the definition for my line graph. You can clearly read it here. Line graph is a type of chart which is used to represent data or information that changes over time using points which are joined by straight lines. Now you have understood every basic about the line graph. So now let us begin with the problem. So let's look at our first problem for the day. So let's read the question. What they've told: consumption of two kinds of wheat represented by A, B, C and X, Y, Z. Meaning there are two types of wheat that are consumed, that are A, B, C and X, Y, Z in given years by a village. So these are the graph represents the consumption of two different kinds of wheat in different years. It is starting from 2010 to 2015. Now, in my y-axis, what do I have? I have the consumption. Consumption in 1000 tons. Careful with this here. They have represented it in 1000 tons. Now, first, let us understand the characteristics of this graph. Let us observe my y-axis first. So, when I observe my y-axis, what can I interpret from that? From this, I can tell that there are main division as well as subdivision. There are main divisions as well as subdivision. So what I'll do is, I'll first find the value of my main divisions here. So which are the main divisions? 0, 5, 10, 15. All these are main divisions. So what will be the value of one main division here? So how do you find that? We'll take two main divisions. I'll take the higher one, that is 5 minus 0. So value of one main division here is 5. What does that mean? It means it is the consumption of two different kinds of wheat. That is 5 into 1000 tons, because one unit, it is represented in terms of 1000 tons. So it is 5 into 1000 tons. So value of one main division is 5000 tons. Now observe carefully, how many subdivisions do we have here? We have 5 subdivisions. So what will be the value of one subdivision? Value of one subdivision will be value of main division divided by number of subdivisions, that is 5. So the value of my subdivisions will be 1 into, because it is in y-axis and it is with respect to 1000 tons. So it will be 1 into 1000 tons. That is nothing but value of my one subdivision will be equal to 1000 tons. Now we have understood the characteristics of this graph. Now let's look at the questions here. What is the first question that they have asked? What was the difference in consumption of ABC and XYZ in 2014? So they're talking only about the year 2014. So first, let us take down the data that we can interpret from the graph. So what is the consumption of ABC in the year 2014? Look at this. We have how many subdivisions there? Main divisions here, 1, 2, 3, and 4 main divisions. So it is 20. 4 into 5 is nothing but 20. And how many subdivisions do we have? We have one subdivision, meaning the consumption is 21 into 1000 tons. I'll be writing that 1000 tons at the end. Now I'll be neglecting that 1000 tons for the easier calculations. So this is the consumption of ABC in the year 2014. Now we need to find the consumption of XYZ as well in the year 2014. The same year, look at this, it is 25 plus 2 subdivisions, meaning it is 27. What is 27? This is the consumption of the wheat type XYZ in the year 2014 once again. So now they're asking the difference. How do we take the difference? Greater value minus lesser value. So what will be my answer? 27 minus 21. What do we get? We get 6 here. But then in y-axis, we have to multiply it with 1000 tons. So what will be my final answer? My final answer here will be 6,000 tons. Do we have that in our options? No, we don't have 6,000 tons in the answer. What students generally do is they see 600 tons and they'll get confused. They'll start thinking twice that they made some mistake and they'll just tick 600 tons and come back, which is absolutely wrong, because whatever we have calculated here as 6,000 tons is absolutely correct. If we don't have that in our options, we have none of these. So my right answer will be none of these. So I hope you have understood this question. Let's move on to the next question here. What are they asking? In the following year, the consumption of both types of wheat together was second lowest. They're asking in which year the consumption of both the types of wheat is second lowest, meaning we'll have to sum up both the wheat type, consumption of both the wheat types for different years and find out which is the lowest. So now if we try to find out for each and every case here, it will be very difficult for us. So what do? We'll eliminate a few. Look at this. We can directly eliminate 2013 because it cannot be the least because it is highest. We look at the graph, we can tell that this is highest consumption. It's the next one. We already have 30 in XYZ. If we add these two, once again, this will also be somewhere close to highest. So we'll not check for this first. So which are the which can we check for? Which year can we check for? Look at this. If we look at 2011, we can clearly tell that the consumption was least in the year 2011. There is no other value. In no other year, the consumption was less than 2011. So 2011 is the least. But then they have asked us for second lowest and not the lowest. So my final answer will not be 2011. So I'll have to check for two other values, which are those 2010 and 2012. If I check for 2010 and 2012, the lowest among these two will be the least consumption. So what is the value of consumption in 2010? ABC. ABC is represented by a blue line. So I'll take that value. ABC is once again. We have found out that one subdivision is 1 unit. 1,000 tons. So how many subdivisions are there? There are 4 subdivisions and 3 main divisions. So it is nothing but 15 plus 4. So the value will be 19 for ABC. They're asking us the sum of ABC and XYZ. So what is the consumption of XYZ in the same year? Consumption of XYZ is 24. So totally, what will be my answer? It will be 33 plus 43,000 tons. So 43,000 tons on in the year 2010. What about 2011? I have 16 year ABC. Consumption of ABC 16 plus, which is it is 26. 18. It is 18 year. So sum of these will be giving me how much? 18 plus 6, 24 plus 10, 34,000 tons. So which is the second least? It is 34,000 tons. And in which year it was the least? It was in the year 2012. Second least consumption was in 2012. So do we have 2012 in our options? Yes. Option B, 2012 will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question here. Let's look at the third question. What are they asking? In how many years the consumption of wheat of type ABC was less than the average consumption of wheat of type XYZ in all the given years? As I told you previously, averages is one of the important topics that we need to know before we start answering the questions here. So in this case, what do we need to do? First, let us take the average of XYZ in all the given years. So XYZ is marked with orange color. So let's look at those. In 2010, so we'll take consumption of XYZ in all the years. So first, in 2010, what was the consumption? 24. Plus, in 2011, what was the consumption here? How many subdivisions are there? 1, 2, and 3 subdivisions. 3 subdivisions meaning 3. 15 plus 3 is 18. Plus, in 2012, look at this. It is a straight line, meaning they have the same consumption here. So in 2011 and 12, the consumption of XYZ remained the same. So it's once again 18. Plus, in 2013, what is the consumption of wheat XYZ? It is 25 plus 2 subdivisions, meaning 27. Once again, it is a straight line, meaning 2013 and 14, the consumption was same. So it's once again 27. Plus, what is the consumption in the year 2015? 2015, the consumption is 30. Now tell me, what is the formula for average? Average is equal to sum of all observations divided by number of observations. So what will be the sum of all the observations? Sum of all the observations will be 24 plus 18 gives me 42. 42 plus 18 gives me 60. 60 plus 30 gives me 90. 90 plus 27 plus 27 gives me 54. 54 plus 90 gives me 144. So sum of all observations will give me 144 divided by number of observations. What is the total number of observations here? We have 6 because 2010 is starting from 2010 and ending at 2015, meaning we have got for 6 years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my answer here will be 144 by 6. So how can you calculate this quickly? You know 144 can also be written as 12 square. That is 12 into 12 divided by 6. 6 2 times. So my answer will be 24. Meaning my average here, average consumption of XYZ is 24,000 tons. So that is average. Now read the question once again. What are they telling? In how many years the consumption of wheat type ABC was less than the average? Meaning it should be less than 24 tons for ABC. So this mark is the 24 tons mark. So in how many years it is less than 24,000 tons? 2015 it's less, 2014 it's less, 2013 it is greater. So 2 and 2012 it is equal, but they're asking for less than 24. So you should not be considering the value of 2012. So once again, 2011 it is less than 24. Once in 2010 also it is less than 24. Meaning in how many years it was? In 4 years. 4 years the consumption of type ABC was less than average consumption of XYZ. So the answer, my final answer will be option D, 4. I hope you're understanding all this. So let's quickly move on to the next question here. Look at this. All these will come under one main question. One main question, you have 4 to 5 sub-questions. So data interpretation is very important, people. So concentrate properly in this class. So now, what are they asking in the next question? What is the percentage decrease in consumption of ABC in 2014 in comparison to 2012? Once again, as I told you, they've asked a question on percentages here. So how do we find the percentage? What is the formula for percentage? Percentage is equals to change in value by original value. Or what can I write this as? I can also write this as change in value divided by a reference value. In this question, they're telling in comparison to 2012, meaning my reference value here is ABC, consumption of ABC in the year 2012. ABC in the year 2012 will be my reference value. So what will be the change in value? the percentage decrease in consumption of ABC in 2014. So I need to take ABC in 2012 minus ABC in 2014, because they're clearly telling that we have to find the percentage decrease, meaning in 2014 it will be less than 2012. So the difference is 2012 minus 2014. So what is the consumption of ABC in the year 2012? In the year 2012, the consumption is 24,000 tons. So I'll be eliminating this 1,000 tons for easier calculation. So I'll directly write it as 24 minus what is the consumption in the year 2014? In the year 2014, the consumption of ABC was 21. Get this? It is 21. The whole divided by, what's the answer? ABC. ABC in 2012, that is 24. Whenever you're finding the percentage, we'll have to multiply it with 100. So here as well, into 100. So what will be the value here? 24 minus 21 will be 3 divided by 24 into 100. So is 24 divisible by 3? Yes. Once 8 3 is 24. So what is 100 by 8? We should all know that 1 by 8 is nothing but 12.5 percentages. What is this 1 by 8? It is nothing but percentage to fraction relationship. You should all be knowing this percentage to fraction relationship. If you don't know these relationships, please go back and watch our basic videos on percentages. So you'll understand this percentages to fraction relationship. If you know this percentages to fraction relationship, you'll be saving a lot of time in your examination. So let's quickly move on to the next question here. Next question is on different graph. This is a second question. Second main question for the day. What does it say? In the below line graph, the number of animals in the two zoo A and B in the year 2001, 3, 5 and 7 is given. So now we'll have to analyze this data and write the answers. What did we do for the first step in my previous problem? What we did was we understood the characteristics of the graph. We observed our y-axis. We took the number of main divisions and subdivisions. But do we need to do that in this case? No. Why we need not to do that? Because they've clearly given us the values for every point here. They've given us the value for each and every year. So we need not understand the characteristics of the graph. We can directly start solving the question. So we need to be smart enough. We need to find out the characteristics whenever the values are not given, and whenever the values are given, we can directly move on to the questions here. What is the first question here? They're asking us what is the ratio of number of animals in Zoo A in the year 2001 and 2005 together, meaning we need to take the sum of animals in Zoo A for the year 2001 and 2005. And they're asking us the ratio between, meaning is 2. The number of animals in Zoo B for the year 2003 and 7 together, meaning we need to take the sum of animals in Zoo B for the year 2003 and 2007. Now, what is the number of animals in 2001 in Zoo A? Zoo A is represented by blue line. So Zoo A, they've clearly given it as 240. Plus, in 2005, what is the number of animals in Zoo A? In 2005, the number of animals is 320. Is 2. What is the number of animals in Zoo B in the year 2003? 2003, it was the least for Zoo B, that is 160 animals. Plus 2007, what is the number of animals in 2007? It is 320 for Zoo B. So now, what will be the ratio? What will be the sum here? 320 plus 200 gives me 520 plus 40 gives me 560 is 2. 320 plus 160 gives me 420 plus 60, 480. So what I do is cancel out these zeros. Now, what do we mean by ratios? We'll have to take out all the common terms or the HCF outside. So if I take out cancel out the HCF, what will I be remaining with? 8 sevens, 56. So 7 is 2. 8 6 48. So 7 is to 6. So what will be my final answer? My final answer will be option A, 7:6. So let's move on to the next question. What are they asking? What is the sum of differences of the number of animals in zoo A and B in the year 2001, 3 and 2005? It is slightly tricky question. It's slightly confusing for you people. They were asking us the sum of the differences. So students might get confused here. Please don't get confused. What they're asking is, they're asking us, first let us find the difference of animals in zoo A and B in the year 1, 3 and 5. What is the difference? How do we find the difference? We'll take the greater value and subtract by the lesser value. So now, which is the greater value when it comes to zoo A and zoo B in the year 2001? 2001, the greater value is animals in zoo A, that is 240, minus animals in zoo A in the year 2001, that is 180. So they're asking us to find the sum of these differences. So plus the next differences for 2003. So once again, if we observe this graph properly, the number of animals in zoo A is never less than the animals in zoo B. So the first value should always be for zoo A, that is 275 minus number of animals in zoo B. Zoo B in the year 2003 was 160 plus in the year 2005. They're not asking us about 2007. So we'll only be concentrating till 2005. So what's the value? 320 minus 240. If we simplify this, what do we get? 240 minus 180 gives me 60 plus 275 minus 160 gives me 115. 160 plus 100 gives me 260 plus 15 gives me 275. So 115 plus once again 240 plus what gives me 320? 240 plus 80 gives me 320. Now what will be the total sum here? 115 plus 80 gives me 195. 195 plus 60 gives me 255. So my final answer will be 255. We have that in our options? Yes. Option C, 255 will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question here. What are they asking? If in the year 2005, 35% of the animals in zoo A and 55% of the animals in zoo B are carnivorous. So they're talking about the year 2005 and we'll be concentrating only on the year 2005 year. So they've told 35% of animals in zoo A, meaning 35% of animals in zoo A are carnivorous and 55% of animals in zoo B are carnivorous. Once again, 55% of animals in zoo B are carnivorous. Then they're asking, what is the sum of number of carnivorous animals in zoo A and B in the year 2015? So now they're asking us to find the sum of these two. What will be the sum of these? It will be 35%. Percentage meaning divided by 100 into what is the number of animals in zoo A? Animals of zoo A in the year 2005. We are concentrating only on 2005. So it is 320 plus 55 divided by 100 into number of animals in zoo B in the year 2015. Sorry, 2005. That is nothing but 240 animals. Now, if you simplify this, what do I get? 10 and 10 gets cancelled. 5 sevens 35, 5 twos 10. 2 ones, 2 16s. Here once again, 10 gets cancelled here. 5 11s 55. 5 twos 10. 2 ones, 2 12s. What is 16 into 7? 16 into 7 is nothing but 112. So you need to be quick with these calculations. So that will save a lot of time here. Plus, what is 11 into 12? 11 into 12 is 132. So if we add both of these, what do I get? 110 plus 130 gives me 240 plus 4 gives me 244. So what will be my final answer? My final answer will be 244. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option D, 244 will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question here. What do they say in the next question? What are they asking us? They're asking us to find the sum of the number of animals in Zubi in the year 2001, 3, and 5 together is what percentage more or less? Meaning, you have to take the difference of animals in Zubi in the year 2001, 2003, and 2005 with respect to the animals in the year, animals in the zoo, A for the year 2001 and 2007. So what do we do? First, let us look at the animals in Zoo B for the year 2001, 3, and 5. Let us take the sum. What will be the sum of animals in the year Zoo B? First, 2001, it is 180. So 180 plus for 2003, what is the number of animals there? 160. Is 160 plus in the year 2005 what are the number of animals? It is 240. 240. Now we need to take the difference between this and the number of animals in zoo A. So let's quickly take the sum of animals in zoo A for the year 2001 and 2007. What are the number of animals in 2001 for zoo A? It is 240 plus for 2007 it is 360. So now what do we need to do? We need to take this difference and divide it by original value. Change in value divided by original value or the reference value. Which is the reference value here? They're comparing percentage more or less with respect to the number of animals in zoo A in the year 2001 and 7. So my reference value will be the number of animals in the year, animals in the zoo A for the year 2001 and 2007. So what will be the answer here? This will be 180 plus 160 plus 240. It will give me how much? It will give me 580. 240 plus 160 gives me 400. 400 plus 180 gives me 580. What will be the number of animals in the year? 2001 and 5 for zoo A, it is 240 plus 360. That is nothing but 600. Now if we take the difference, what do we get? 600 minus 580 divided by reference value. That is number of animals in zoo A. That is 600 into 100. So 2 zeros here will get cancelled. So now what am I left out with? 600 minus 580 gives me 20 divided by 6. That is nothing but 2, 3, 6, 2 tens 20. 10 by 3. Do we have that in our options? No. We have mixed fraction. So we need to convert 10 by 3 to mixed fraction. So what do we get? 3 3s is 9. Remaining is 1 divided by 3. So it is 3 1 by 3 percentage. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option C, 3 1 by 3 percentage will be my final answer. So now let's move on to the next question then. So what is the next question here? The number of animals in zoo B in the year 2009. They're not represented in the graph, but they've given it as 2009. Is 25% more than that in the year 2007. Now, if I consider the number of animals in the year 2007 as 100% of it. So now let us say you have 10 rupees. You have 10 rupees. What is the 100% of the money that you have? It is nothing but 10 rupees itself. Because the number of money that you have will be the 100% of itself. So now, what is the 100% of animals in 2007? 100% of animals is 360. For Zubi, they're talking about Zubi. So it is 320. Now what they're telling, the number of animals in Zubi in the year 2009 is 25% more than that. 25% more than 100% is 125%. So 125% of what? 125% of 320. So it is 125% of 320. How can I write my 125% as? I can directly write my 125% as 5 by 4. Why did I do this? 125 divided by 100. 5 times 25 5 times is 125 and 25 4 times is 100. So we can directly write 125% as 5 by 4 into 320. For 1 times, for 8 times. So what is 5 into 80? That is 400. So what is this 400? This 400 is the number of animals in the year 2009 in Zubi. So now we have found out this. Let's move on to the next part of the question. What are they asking? What is the average? Once again, the question is based on average. What is the average number of animals in Zubi in the year 2005, 7 and 9? So how do we find the average? Average is equal to sum of all observation divided by number of observation. So what will be the sum of all observations? It is for the year 2005, 7 and 9. So what is the number of animals in the year 2005? It is 240 plus number of animals in the year 2007 was 320 plus the number of animals in the year 2009. We have found out that the number of animals in the year 2009 is 400 divided by number of observations. The number of observation here, 3 different years. So that is 3. So what will be my average? Average will be, what is 320 plus 240? 360 plus 200. That is 560. 560 plus 400 gives me 960. 960 divided by 3. So 3 times, 3 2 times, and 0. So the average will be 320. And do we have that in our options? Yes. Option B, 320 will be my final answer. So I hope everything about the line graph is clear for you people. How to interpret the data, how to answer the questions based on line graphs. So now let's move on to the next type of graph. Which are those? That is nothing but bar graphs. So what is the difference between line graph and a bar graph? Both are one and the same, almost the same. In line graph, we used to represent the changing data in the form of points. But in bar graph, we'll be representing that in terms of rectangular bars. So if the bar is taller, meaning the manufacturing is greater, or the value, any value that we consider will be more. If the height of the bar graph is less, that means that the number corresponding to it will be less. So now, to understand better, let us look at the question on bar graph. What does it say? The first question on bar graph tells that in the bar graph, number of cakes sold by 5 bakeries. So there are 5 different bakeries. Which are those? A, B, C, D, and E. Those 5 bakeries have been represented in my x-axis. And the number of cakes that have been manufactured by these 5 different bakeries have been represented in my y-axis. So now, what is the first step that we followed? The first step was we understood the characteristics of the graph. Even in this case, we'll be understanding the characteristics of the graph. So in my y-axis, let us observe the y-axis here. So what will be the value of one main division? Once again, we have 2 divisions here, which is main divisions and subdivisions. And the values are not mentioned on the bar graph. So we need to first find the characteristics of this graph here. So what will be the value of one main division? It will be 10 minus 0. 10 minus 0 meaning 10, which means that value of one main division is 10 cakes. So what is the value of one subdivision? How did we find out the value of subdivision? We first found out the number of subdivisions between 2 main divisions. How many subdivisions are there? There are 5 subdivisions. So value of one subdivision will be value of main division divided by number of subdivisions. So it gives me the value of one subdivision will be 2 cakes. So we have understood the characteristics of the graph here. So let's quickly move on to the first question here. What does it say? The number of cakes sold by bakery C is approximately. Keep an eye on this. They're asking us the approximate value and not the exact value. Whenever we are reading the question, we should make sure that we have read the question completely. We should not be rereading the question again. So next, what are they asking? Approximately what percentage of number of cakes sold by bakery E? Now they're asking us to compare the number of cakes sold by bakery C and bakery E. So as I told you, the formula for percentage is change in value divided by original value. Here we don't have the change. Instead, we have value which we need to compare and the reference value. They're asking us to compare it with bakery E. So my bakery E will be my reference value, and bakery C, the cakes produced by bakery C will be my comparison value. The formula for percentage will be comparison value by reference value into 100. So what is my comparison value? What is the number of cakes that is sold by bakery C? It is 20 plus. How many subdivisions do we have here? We have 3 subdivisions here, meaning value of one subdivision is 2. So value of 3 subdivisions is 6. So 20 plus 6, that is 26 is the number of cakes produced by bakery C. Now, what is the number of cakes produced by bakery E? The main divisions we have 60 plus how many subdivisions? We have 1 and 2 subdivisions. Meaning my reference value will be 60 plus 2 into 2, that is 4. 64 into 100. Now if we solve this, what do we get? 213 times is 26. 232 times is 64. 48 times is 32. 425 times is 100. Now 8 ones 8. 8 threes 24. Point. There'll be some decimal value here, 3.1 or something. So they're asking us the approximate value. So what I'll do is I'll neglect this decimal value and directly take it as 3. So what will be 3 into 13? 13 3 times is 39 point something. What is the closest value to 39 which is slightly greater than 39? It is 40%. So what will be my final answer? My final answer will be the number of cakes produced by bakery C is approximately 40% with respect to the number of cakes produced by bakery E. So option A, 40% will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question here. Next, what is the next question? They're asking us to find the ratio between number of cakes sold by bakery B and the number of cakes sold by bakery E. So let's quickly take the ratio here. So we need to find the ratio between B and cakes sold by bakery E. What is the number of cakes sold by bakery B? It's clearly known that it is 20 cakes. Is to bakery E. In our previous question, we have seen that bakery E produced 64 cakes. So what will be the answer here? The ratio, if it's in 4, we can divide both of them by 4. So what do we get? 4 5s is 20 is 2. 4 16s is 64. So my final answer will be 5 is to 16. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option D, 5 is to 16 will be my final answer. So let's quickly move on to the next question then. What are they asking? Out of the total number of cakes sold by bakery A, are bakery A 1/6 were designer cakes. Then what is the number of non-designer cakes sold by bakery A? Once again, even for this, we need to be very good with ratios. If we're good with ratios, we can tell that number of cakes, non-designer cakes sold were 5/6 of its original value. Why? Because 1/6 was designer cakes. So how do we get the non-designer cakes? So it means out of entire value, we have 1/6 as designer cakes. So 1 minus 1/6 gives me 5/6. Out of the total, I'm removing the designer cakes. If I remove the designer cakes, what will I be left out with? I'll be left out with non-designer cakes or ordinary cakes. What are those ordinary cakes? It is 5/6. It is non-designer cakes. 5/6 of what? 5/6 of total number of cakes sold by bakery A. Total number of cakes sold by bakery A. What is the total number of cakes sold by bakery A? How many subdivisions do we have here? We have 1, 2, and 3 subdivisions, meaning 30 plus 3 into 2, that is 6. 36 cakes. Out of the total of 36 cakes, 5/6 were non-designer. Meaning how many non-designers were there? If we solve this, we get 5/6. So it will be 30 non-designer cakes. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option C, 30 will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question. What is the next question? They're asking us to find the average number of cakes sold by bakery A and bakery D. Now, what is the formula for average? Average will be sum of all observation divided by number of observation. So what is the sum of observations? Sum of observation will be number of cakes produced by bakery A and D. In our previous problem only, we found out that bakery A produces 36 cakes. Plus, what is the number of cakes produced by bakery D? Bakery D produces 40 plus how many subdivisions? We have 4 subdivisions, meaning it has produced 4 into 2, that is 8. 40 plus 8, 48 cakes. So what is the average? Sum of all divisions divided by number of observations. The number of observations are here, only 2. So what will be my final answer? 48 plus 36 will give me 84. Divided by 2. What is 84 by 2? 42. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option E, 42 will be my final answer. So let's move on to the next question. This question will be the last question for today. So what does it say? The number of cakes sold by bakery C and bakery E together increased by 20% in the second week compared to first week. Then what was the total number of cakes sold by bakery C and E together in second week? Here they've given us the graph for first week. Now they're asking us to find the total sum of number of cakes sold by bakery C and E in second week. So they're told it is increased by 20% in week 2, meaning if whatever the cakes produced by C and E together right now is 100%, in week 1, they are 100%. So what will be in week 2? Week 2 it will be 20% more than this, meaning 120%. So what is the sum of cakes produced by bakery C and bakery E? In a previous question, we have seen that bakery E produces 64 cakes and bakery C produces 26 cakes. So in first week, they have produced 26 plus 64 cakes. In second week, they'll be producing 120% of this because it is increased by 20%. How can I write my 120% as? I can directly write my 120% as 6 by 5. I'm converting the percentage into ratio. So 6 by 5 of what is 64 plus 26? 64 plus 26 gives me 90. So if I simplify this, what do I get? 5 ones, 5 18s is 90. What is 6 into 18? 6 into 18 is 108. So what is this 108? 108 is a total number of cakes produced by bakery C and bakery E together in second week. Do we have that in our options? Yes. Option B, 108 will be my final answer. I hope all this is clear for you people. You have understood how to solve problems on line graph and bar graph today. So in tomorrow's class, we'll be looking at tabular graph and pie chart. So for people who are still not thorough with the topics of percentage, average, and ratios, go back and watch our previous classes on all these 3 topics. Make sure you're thorough with all these 3 topics, at least the basics. You should be thorough with the basics of all these 3 topics. Only then you can answer the questions in data interpretation. Now you have already got the idea why I've told you that percentage, average, and ratio are very important topics for data interpretation. So all you need to do is check for the description of this video. In the description of this video, I have provided you the links for basic classes of all these 3 topics. Watch those basic classes and then start your data interpretation class. So at least by the next class, you should be thorough with all these 3 topics. So that's all from me for today, people. Thank you.